Radical.
This is going to be one of two football uploads tonight. I'm recording these basically in succession, but I wants to have different thumbnails. That's why I didn't combine these into one upload. Plus, it might be kind of long if it's one upload. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is going to be Tua. Let's see here. Tua Tagovailoa. Did I get anywhere near correct to his name? I got the first part right, so I'm just going to say Tua. Tua. Man, sometimes you got to know when to throw in the towel. Sometimes you got to know when to give it up. And if I was in the position of Tua, who is, I think, only 25 years old, I believe, I would have a tough decision to make, which is to continue playing football or to bow out because I've had multiple concussions. Now, concussions are a part of football. I don't think any player that's played for a long period of time maybe hasn't got their bell rung. They used to call it just getting your bell rung. Right? But the more that we know about concussions now versus several decades ago, they're troubling. They're very troubling. They're even trying to make the helmets a little more cushioned, I believe. They're trying to update the helmets to help with the problem of concussions. They're serious. Unlike an arm or a leg or a calf or an ACL or something, this is something that affects your brain itself. Just let that sink in. Now, if I was in a position of Tua, it would be an easy decision for me to make. I would bow out. I would leave the sport of football. I know he's a very competitive guy, and he feels like he owes his team because of that contract he got. But it's very reckless and dangerous to continue to let somebody like Tua play, even though he's had multiple concussions. A couple years ago, I think last season he didn't have any concussions, but 2022, he had a concussion on a Sunday night. And literally, the Thursday after, within a week period, he had two concussions. I know one, supposedly, they said it was a back injury, but it was a concussion. Now, the concussions we know about, I think are about 3 or 4, including this most previous one I'll talk about in a second. But just because those are the documented concussions, do not believe, you'd be stupid to believe that's the only concussions he's ever had in his life. Those are just the ones we know about. What was troubling about this most recent concussion was he was in the, I think it's called a feigning position, whereas right after the concussion, he actually outstretched his arm, and it looked very scary, meaning he lost control and his arm was just outstretched. That is one of the most serious types of concussions you can have, I read. And he got this concussion not because he was a victim of a brutal sack, not because his head bounced off the field. No, because he lightly ran into, of all people, you'll never believe this, Damar Hamlin of the Bills. Of all the people to have a possible career-ending concussion with, because it could have been career-ending, right? It's Damar Hamlin, the guy who's actually for a second was not here. I forget the details of that, but basically his heart stopped on the field. So imagine being Damar Hamlin and seeing Tua barreling right towards you. For what it's worth, he didn't try to tackle him. I mean, it was the lightest kind of trying to stop him because they all know about his history, and they don't want to be the person that ends his career or, makes him a brain-dead vegetable, right? Because concussions ain't no joke. Now, if you saw it, he lightly ran into him. Very lightly. It wasn't he went head first. And then he fell down like a sack of potatoes. Two other elements I want to talk about of this is his decision making. Now, he said he had some jiu-jitsu training and it kind of helped him fall. They were losing. So maybe his thinking was, I'm just going to do what I can to help my team win. And I'll just do the stupidest thing. I don't understand the thought process behind this guy doing what he did, because he's going head first into this person. If you've had concussion history, the last fucking thing you want to do is to run head first into somebody. If anything, he could have been cited for lowering his helmet. You're not supposed to lower your helmet on offense or on defense. But he did that just to get a couple extra yards, to get a first down. So no one can say that he wasn't trying to help his team win. All right? Bless his heart, he was trying the best to help his team win, but that was a really stupid move by him. Very stupid. About the worst thing you could possibly do. And it was at the end of the game also. So, and the other element I want to finish up talking about on this is, what about the other players? What about everyone else? This is something I haven't seen many commentators touch upon, but if you have a situation to where you have a person that has a concussion history, all the other defenders are going to feel like they can't play to their max, and they have to handle this guy with kid gloves. Just like DeMar Hamlin basically not doing much at all, but just kind of standing in his way. He was expecting probably for him to slide down. I think some people said, like, you could hear players saying basically, slide, 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 and he didn't slide. So the NFL might look at it and say, well, this gives the Dolphins an unfair advantage because the defenders are going to do their best to try to not play as hard as they can to go at Tua, right? Now, I'm actually surprised the NFL did not step in. Apparently, he's choosing to play. I'm surprised the NFL didn't step in on this and say, no, you have too much of a bad history. I really am. The way it just looks to have this person that keeps having these concussions, serious concussions at that. I think it's kind of a bad look for the league to not step in and say, hey, we at least need to maybe have a big period of time between you playing again. I don't know when they're going to allow him to play again. But it is the wrong move onto his part. I hope that he doesn't have another concussion, but it's just a matter of time that he's going to have another concussion. The only question is not if he's going to have another concussion in his career. It's that how many more and how serious are they going to be?